Hey, if you've got this part of the video, you've got the live unedited edition Home Gadget Geeks Thursday night. It's 8 p.m. in the Central Time Zone on May, I think today's the 6th. If you've got this any other time than that, you've got just the recorded version on YouTube, and that's okay. Hang tight. You might be listening on Spreaker as well, and if you're listening on Spreaker, welcome. So thanks for coming out. Or you might have caught this on Twitch. Either way, hang tight. We're going to get started here in just a minute. A little bit of pre-show, a couple reminders. If you do want to join us, if you do want to join us in the chat room, head out to theaverageguy.tv/live, and there's a link to the YouTube page. I know it's a lot of steps. Sorry. The click on that, it'll take you to YouTube. You can sign into the chat, and that's a good way to do that there. Just kind of keeps you in the know on the chat room. If you're joining us on Twitch for whatever reason, welcome. Good to see you over there as well. We don't get too many that do it. I am monitoring that chat, so you can. YouTubers, you can't see our Twitch friends, and Twitch, you can't see our YouTube friends, but I can see both of you. So welcome if you're doing that as well. I don't see anybody yet. We'll get started here in just a second. Mark, you drinking anything tonight? Did you pull anything out? You got any special?
Yeah, we're on a diet, so I'm having 0 sugar blackberry lemon, and I got a gin and tonic after this.
Oh, nice. Nice. All right. Why after? Why not during?
Well, this is a alcoholic drink, and the other one's an alcoholic drink. The blackberry lemon is not it's still 5%.
All right. Well,
it's like a seltzer thing.
Yeah. Those are getting real popular. Sean, do you have a beverage of choice that you got?
Water tonight.
Water tonight. Okay. You got a favorite beverage of choice, like when you're hanging out with the boys or you're grilling, you got a beverage you like to enjoy?
Pretty much any beer. I'm not real picky.
Okay.
It's throughout the week is definitely water.
Yeah.
I do a lot of physical work during the week, so I got to keep myself hydrated.
Yeah.
Especially this time of year.
Right. Yeah.
But beer, I don't say no to. So.
Okay. All right. Well, good for you. I'm actually I went highbrow tonight. I got a little Blanton's in the glass, a little Blanton's bourbon. This is, you guys know Blanton's? You're familiar with the Blanton's brand? Okay, so at least here in the U.S., it's a really hard bourbon to get. So they've kind of artificially limited the number, but they didn't raise the price. So like it's $50, which is not terrible. Like, I mean, I think most of the bourbons I drink are $20 or $30. So, but for as hard as this thing is to get, like we have to put our name on a waiting list, and then, I mean, it's kind of like healthcare in Canada. You just got to wait for the thing to happen then, right? Stop, just joking. But so, or maybe I'm not. So, it takes a while for you to get it. And when I did go to get it, I was expecting to pay like $100 because it took like forever. You're like, okay, I'll pay because that's what I'm supposed to do. And they're like $50. I was like, wow. So that's probably why you can't find it. So that is not a bad bourbon. Not a bad bourbon. I thought in honor of grilling and barbecue and all and rubs tonight, as we're going to talk about it, I just thought it'd be good to have a bourbon. So cheers.
There's one bottle in Ontario.
One bottle.
One bottle. We have it's a government run liquor store.
Yep.
That's the only place you can buy booze from the government run liquor store.
Yeah.
And their website has it, but there's one bottle, which means that there's probably no bottles.
Yeah. Yeah. What's their list price?
$70.
Yeah. Yeah. It's about right.
So reasonable.
That's about right. That's kind of US is $50. So, I kind of expect more, but we got a bottle. We tried it. Nobody liked it in my family. I like it, but nobody else liked it. So it's been sitting there. And then, when we got a call 6 months later, it was like, you want another bottle? And I told my wife, I'm like, are we going to drink another bottle of Blanton's? And she was like,
yes.
No, she was like, no. And I'm like, I tell you what, I'm going to go pick it up and then we won't put our name on the list. So I got to have a backup bottle of Blanton's so it's, it's funny. I drink more of it now knowing I have a backup bottle of it. Cause before I was like, I got one bottle. This is only for special occasions. And then, but now that I got a backup bottle,
you can go through one bottle.
Yeah. What the heck? Might as well enjoy it. Sean, I don't have. In fact, sometimes I wish I had a more physical job. So I do get the opportunity to enjoy. Part of the show here is we get to enjoy some cocktails from time to time. I try to keep it reasonable, but if the eyes glaze over by the end, that is why.
Time to time. Every
Mark?
Thursday night.
Yeah, okay, it's pretty close. It's pretty close. I'm a lightweight. So, all right, friends. Thanks for coming out tonight. Alex, Justin, Brian. I saw Ken a little bit earlier tonight. All grill tonight. No Bitcoin. So no. The last couple, I think the last 5 or 6 shows that has snuck its way in, and we're only going to talk. I think right. We're only going to talk about. Mark, are you doing any Bitcoin? No, Sean.
No, I repurposed my drives I was using for Burst into my Unraid box.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, smart.
So how do you get people to follow the live feed? Just through YouTube?
If you go, or the easiest way is go to theaverageguy.tv and then /live. Here, I'll throw that in the. I'll throw it with the. We're in pre-show. Because I've been busy.
Can I do it?
Sure.
Pretty.
Let's see. Okay, hold on. Private chat. So it's average.tv/live. That'll get you. That'll spell right. That'll get you to Sean. That'll get folks if they want to listen. Okay, let me get rid of, or let me get through all the pleasantries here in the beginning. Mike is, for those listening live, Mike is not feeling well, which is kind of weird during this COVID era, right? I mean, like, I can't remember the last time I had a cold. It's been a year and, I mean, yeah, at least. Yeah, I know. And like, I can't, like, if we would have known that just masks would have wiped the flu out, like cases, they're concerned in the United States. We don't have enough flu cases to get the flu vaccine for next fall. They're like, nobody's getting the flu.
They're talking about us having it rolled into our next booster shot for the vaccine.
Yeah, that'd be a smart idea. Yeah, that'd be a smart idea. So,
but we still have to wear masks. Like up here, everybody still wears masks. You can't go into a store without masks.
Yeah.
You can't. Every business had to have masks.
I think we're pretty much that way. Most of the U.S. Nebraska's, Douglas County, the county I'm in, the mask mandate ends May 25th, and they're not going to renew it. So I think, but our cases are, well, until they're not, but our cases have really dived.
Yeah.
So,
we're going to be coming out of lockdown, I think, end of May.
Oh, okay. Well, that's at least
one step out, right? They have 4 levels, and right now we're in the most severe.
Considering we all thought we would be coming out May of last year, when this first kicked off.
We did. First round.
I know. Well, yeah, it's true. We didn't. That's for sure. It's been wild here in the US. Okay. No COVID, no more COVID talk. Here we go. Let me find my notes. Let me do this thing. This is the Average Guy Network, and you have found Home Gadget Geeks, show number 489, recorded on May 6th, 2021. Here on Home Gadget Geeks, we cover all the favorite tech gadgets that find their way into your home. News, reviews, product updates, and conversation, all for the average tech guy. I'm your host, Jim Collison, broadcasting live from the AverageGuy.tv studios here in a beautiful Bellevue, Nebraska. But Mark, is it beautiful in Canada? That's the question. How's the weather up north?
15 Celsius today. So
I don't even know what that means. Is that good?
50 Fahrenheit today.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah.
But getting a little, well, actually, it's 50, 55, 55, 52, 59 for next week.
We always complain in Nebraska that there's never spring. But this year, it's actually been kind of those spring-like conditions, right? Which have been really pleasant. Kind of evenings, sit on the deck, good for grilling.
We had snow last Friday.
Yeah, but it didn't stay around very long, right?
No, but it was an inch and a half of snow.
Oh, Sean Cook is joining us, and we'll meet Sean a little bit later. Why he's here, but Sean, are you a winter guy or are you a summer guy? You're not far from Mark up there. Which do you prefer?
Definitely a summer guy.
Okay.
I'm not a winter guy at all.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you kind of grill like all summer long? Is it like every night? What's your grilling frequency,
That's
generally?
all year.
I grill all year round.
Okay.
When I'm busy at work, summertime is my busier time at work, so I do most of my grilling on the weekends and try and cook everything I can Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then eat leftovers throughout the week.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a great way to do it. I need to do more of that myself where I overcook on the weekends than have that stuff available. We kind of do that. We kind of do that with HelloFresh. That's kind of our, we buy the box meals and we make a couple of those a week, and there's just enough for a leftover in those. And so I kind of eat that for lunch the next day or whatever. But I could definitely do more over grilling, right? You can never grill enough, right?
Over grill and then freeze it.
Yeah. Although, Mark, I'll be honest with you, I've got some pulled pork that's still sitting in my freezer from, I don't know, it's been a while. I need to start writing the dates on the plastic bags because it goes and I just lose track of it.
But you know the best way to reheat that, right?
Well, you can tell me.
Pot of water. just to clip the bag to the side of a pot of simmering water. 20 minutes.
Yeah. And
it keeps all the moisture in it, doesn't dry it out.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. So it's almost like sous vide for
it is. It's a poor man's sous vide.
Yeah.
It's a sous vide that anybody can do.
Right. Well, I the problem is I don't know how long it's been in there. Like I'm the kind of grill guy that I'll grill it, freeze it, and then I just never get back to the freezer. Early in pandemic, so like May of last year, we made a whole bunch of soup stocks. Because that's what you did. You made bread and soup, right? And I think they're still. It's been a year. Is it any good? I don't know. So
I eat it. If it's pulled pork or something, or brisket, I got brisket and pulled pork in my freezer that are a year old. And I'll pull those out. Oh yeah,
Sean, are you okay with a year in the freezer?
I have a lot of people that take stuff off my hands. Most of my cooks don't make it to the freezer.
Okay. So you're not necessarily freezing the abundance of what you make. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about that here in just a second. Of course, I have a few show notes we're going to buy a little bit later in the show. Mark and Sean are going to talk me into an instant read thermometer, and so we'll pick one of those up tonight. I've broken a bunch of them, and so we're going to buy that later in the show. The links to those will be in the show notes. You can find that theaverageguy.tv/HGG489 for this show. A couple reminders going forward. I said we wouldn't talk in pre-show about Bitcoin, but many of you have taken advantage of the Coinbase offer, and if you want to do that, if you want to kind of join in that Bitcoin, whatever's going on right now, which is kind of crazy, you can start by creating an account on Coinbase. Just go to theaverageguy.tv/Coinbase. After your first $100 purchase or deposit, they'll give you 10. They give me 10. It's kind of a great way to get in and just kind of discover. If you don't know anything about it, it's a great way to get started. Remember, theaverageguy.tv/Coinbase. And then if you need another trading platform for that, we also have a relationship with Bittrex. So you can go to theaverageguy.tv/Bittrex. You can't trade everything on Coinbase, and whatever you can't do, Bittrex has the rest. Bittrex, theaverageguy.tv/Bittrex, if you want to jump in that as well. Mike is out tonight. He is not feeling well. He got a cold. I told Mark, a what? Like, I don't even know what a cold is anymore. It's been so long since I've had one. My watch wants to tell me otherwise. But as I mentioned, Mark Robson and Sean Cook. Sean, hey, welcome to your first. Mark's been here a bunch, but welcome to your first Home Gadget Geeks. Great to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Give us a little bit of background on you. We're going to dig in a little bit. Mark said, hey, I've got this friend. He's making rubs, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But just give us a little 2 minutes on you, who you are, where are you at, what do you do, those kinds of things.
All right. Well, I live not too far from Mark, just a little town called Carleton Place, Ontario. It's about 10 minutes west of Ottawa, Ontario. And I love grilling, obviously, grilling and smoking. And I had a hard time, especially here, buying stuff that wasn't either overpriced or too salty, especially with rubs and seasoning, stuff like that. I'm not a big salt eater, so I went out and bought a Traeger, and then I bought some of the Traeger seasoning, and I sprinkled it on my chicken, and I couldn't eat my chicken because it was way too salty.
Yeah.
And as I started researching it, I'm like, you know what? There's better ways to do this. There's healthier ways to do it, and more exciting ways, because you can do a lot of experimenting, and you can fine tune everything to your personal taste. So yeah, hopefully we'll make a retirement career out of that, and I can get out of my current career.
Yeah, we're gonna dig in on that, but let's get some stats on you. I already know Mark has a grill problem. Like Mark, what
you call it a problem? I don't call it a problem.
How many do you got? Like what do you have now?
I have 4 right now, plus a pizza oven.
Okay.
And you're gonna hear somebody that has more than I do, so my problem doesn't look like a problem.
Well, it's sweet. Well, that's good to hear. Sean, apparently you have a problem. You have a grill.
Yes.
Problem. So let's just quickly run through your grills. If you were going to get a quick inventory, and start with like your favorite, if you can. Start with your favorite and work your way down. What do you
the favorite is probably the pellet grill for the ease of use and the versatility of it. It's on the weekends and stuff, you want to spend time with the kids. It is great once in a while to sit and babysit a fire and just sit and watch the food cook, but most people can't do that. They work all week, they come home on the weekends. You have to balance your family time, your cooking time. So the pellet grill, you just add wood pellets, you turn it on, and you can carry on with your day and still enjoy the taste of the smoked food and enjoy family time and whatever else you have to do.
It really has, like, pellet grills really kind of, how long? I mean, they've kind of come on, at least in my opinion, they've kind of come on fast and have kind of taken over and dominated the space. Mark,
the growth is like this. Like it was sort of like really, really slow. And then the last couple of years, it's just shot through the roof.
Yeah, everybody's picking up Traegers or Smoky Joes or
Green Mountain Grills. Or,
those kinds of brands. And Sean, the reason you said is exactly what I think for a lot of folks. We've talked here about the intricacies of trying to do charcoal or even gas, which is kind of easy but kind of boring in some cases, right? And so, boy, the pellet grill market has just exploded for sure. Like, I was joking with my daughter, and because it got expensive, and she said, "I now judge everything by how many Traegers they are." This is my daughter who said this. Like, so if I'm buying a car and it's $20,000, it's 20 Traegers. So like that's it's funny because I talk about them all the time. I've been thinking about going into this. And we came out of an era where you drop I used to drop a couple $100 on a grill, and now you're dropping $1,000 or $2,000, right?
But not just on Traegers. Like you look at a new Weber now, or a new Napoleon, or the store you used to go to, the barbecue store you used to go to, had I think it was a $55,000 grill called a Kalamazoo. And you'd open up the door, and it had all the signatures of the guy who built it inside the thing.
Oh my gosh!
So it's stainless steel gas,
custom hand built, right? That kind of.
But a gas grill,
right?
So, I got lucky. I bought every one of my pellet grills I meant to find used. So my favorite one was like a $1,500 US grill, and I paid 500 Canadian for it. The last one I bought was 1,500 Canadian, and I paid 1,000 for it.
Well, Mark, you're good at this, and you kept shipping me links for a Weber because you're like, you got to get this Weber, right? And I never did, but I probably should turn that search to pellet grills and say, look in my area, you make sure it's the right one, send me the links so I can buy it, right? That's what I want to do. So, Sean, your pellet's the favorite. Do you have any brand loyalty in there as far as what you like from the brand?
Not really.
Okay.
My first pellet grill was a Traeger.
Yeah.
I did a little bit of researching, shopped around a little bit, but in my area there wasn't a large selection, so I kind of picked the best of what was available because I'm also impatient. I went out and I went like, I want to grill and I want it like right now. I don't
Yeah.
want to wait 2 weeks
Right.
and I've had it for about 3 years. They've honored any problems. I've had minor little things with it, but I use it a lot
Mhm.
and it still works.
I
Keeps
think
me going.
probably 75% of people's first pellet grill is a Traeger. Like
Think so?
they're synonymous with pellet grills.
Yeah. But there's a bunch of options now, right? I mean,
there's more and more and more for
right.
sure.
Yeah. So.
I don't know how many people's second pellet grill is a Traeger, because I think the Traeger gets people into it, and then they start seeing everything that's out there. And especially in the States, you can get some beautiful ones like Pits and Spits and Yoder and some of the other really nice ones. I think Smoking Brothers is another one. That are the thing you pay for them, but the things are built like tanks.
Yeah. Sean, what's number 2? What do you default out? So if you can't pellet grill, what are you using next?
Number 2 is probably, I'd have to say Weber Performer, charcoal, maybe Blackstone. It depends what I want to cook. Right?
Sure. Yeah.
I have 9 grills total.
Okay.
And
told you.
Yeah, and counting. It's
do
but
you have
each
a big
grill,
patio, or like where do you? And then in the winter, do you have to store them? I mean, how's that work?
yeah, I don't use them all winter. Some of them are fairly low temperature cooking, so they don't run well. Like it gets minus 40 up here. So
Right.
Minus 40 Celsius is the same as minus 40 Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
It's minus cold.
Yeah, it's minus cold. Little tiny flames.
Yeah. And low and slow doesn't work when it's that cold, right? I mean, yeah.
Not efficiently anyway.
You have to choose your grill properly.
Right.
So if I want to do low and slow, I either have to use a pellet grill with a blanket, I use my Broil King that's got double layers, or I use my egg that is insulated.
A Komodo, right? An insulated. Do you have an insulated, Sean? Do you have an insulated grill?
I have the Traeger I've got an insulated blanket for it.
Okay.
The smaller cabinet one, I wrap an old welding blanket and a moving blanket around it, but it only goes up to about 200 degrees Fahrenheit, and I keep an eye on it, and it hasn't burnt yet. So,
good.
I don't recommend everybody doing that, but you do what you have to do when it's really cold. And
yeah, no, for sure. I remember my first winter. I was a California kid. In my first winter in Nebraska, and I was trying to grill in the middle of the winter, and I just could not, I just couldn't get the grill hot enough to even, and it does weird temperature swings. And, we were on a north facing porch, and so the wind would come through. I mean, but still not as bad, I'm sure, as what you guys face there up north. So
it gets cold.
Yeah.
But snow is actually a really good insulator.
Yeah.
You just build a little wall around the grill and shovel a little path, and you're good.
Yeah. Do you have
kind of igloo?
Do you have a deck or like a back patio that they're all out on? How do you, or do you keep them in a shed during the winter, or how do you manage?
Some of them are definitely in the shed. The pellet grill I keep on the deck. It's the go-to grill in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Most of them I don't use all winter. A few of them are off in the yard. They're not really safe to be burning on the deck. They're a little bit more chance of flare-ups and out-of-control fires.
Yeah.
So, the pellet grill is about 4 feet from my door, so I can run out when it's really cold, throw food on, run back in, and I can see the temperature from inside the house.
Yeah.
I don't even have to stand outside.
I think everybody tells me that has one, it just changes everything, because you can just set a temperature. You're not guessing, you're not guessing on that. You can set a temp. It stays that temp for the most part. Right. And then
the haters will call it an easy bake oven.
Yeah.
Hey.
And you know what? I have no I was cutting my lawn tonight. I walked beside the house and like, oh, somebody's got a wood fire going.
Yeah.
It was my wife lighting my pellet grill. So two things. One, she wouldn't light a charcoal pit, and she won't light a gas barbecue because it scares her, but she has no problem going out there and turning on the pellet grill. And second, she cooked dinner on it while I was cutting the lawn, which she wouldn't have done on either of the other two. And it still smelled like wood smoke.
Yeah. No, right on. I just, everybody says they're just drop dead easy. And so, I keep thinking, I thought maybe this would be the summer I picked one up. So Mark, I'll have to get you working on the Omaha marketplace. Yeah, the marketplace for me so I can find one. Sean, you mentioned it in the beginning of the show. You spent some time, like, you weren't happy when you started getting into grilling. You were not happy with seasonings and rubs, and of course then everybody just decides, like, well, I'm just going to make my own, right? When they do that. So tell me a little bit about, I mean, as you started, so you kind of discovered, like, oh my God, I can't eat it. It's too salty. So how does one kind of go about kind of starting to make their own kind of rub?
It's definitely comes down to personal preference. I'm not a big salt fan. I don't even have a salt shaker with salt in it. I'd never table salt. I don't put it on any of my meals. So a lot of the commercial brands were very salty, and I'm like, all right, I need to figure out how to make this without all the salt in it. And so I start playing around, start watching a lot of barbecue videos and a lot of experimenting. And I still, to this day, do a lot of experimenting. I'm like, oh, I wonder what happens if I add a little bit of this or if I do this. And after quite a few years of experimenting, you get kind of a knack for it. The benefit of making your own rubs is there's no limit to what you can put in it.
Sure.
I make a lot of rubs where I used freeze-dried, say, raspberries. I'll grind them up. I'll add salt, pepper, raspberries, and I'll put that on wings or chicken or pork. It depends. And it's hard to go to the grocery store and buy something that's, raspberry flavored, that's not artificial or actually bad for you. It's nice to eat things that are good for you.
Yeah, it's kind of organic from that standpoint, right? It's, what do they call it? Clean. You're making out of real ingredients, right?
Yep. Yeah, and if you look at the ingredients on a lot of rubs, just like most foods, you can't even identify half the ingredients in the product.
Yeah.
So, like, do I really want this? I can't pronounce it, so I'm not sure I want to eat it. And when you start digging and researching and experimenting, you don't really need all that stuff. A lot of it is flavor enhancers. A lot of it is flavor enhancers that cut the production cost down because they're out to make money, right?
Sure.
They want it to taste good, so they'll throw MSG in it or a little bit of this or a little bit of that. And at the end of the day, they care about what's in their pockets.
Right. Does it sell? Right. Who picks it up? And sometimes it's about stable products. I mean, it takes a long time to get a product to market. Sometimes it may sit on a shelf for a while. And so they've got to, some of the methods you use may not survive as long as it takes to get some of that. And maybe some of it will. So maybe we'll talk about that here in a second. Do you, so like that's actually right now, that's actually a really popular market, this idea of clean or organic or
farm to
kind
fork.
of more, yeah, right. Do you find as you've been putting these together, do you find like that could be a niche that you could get into and kind of drive sales with it?
I don't think of that as on the sales part of it. I like making rubs for people to enjoy them.
Yeah.
And if I get rich off them, I will, but that's not my goal.
Yeah.
My goal is just like going over to a friend's place, good time, sit down, have a good meal, a good drink, a good laugh, and quality products.
Yeah.
It's nice to, I don't know.
Well, I think you're onto something. I'm just going to say, I think as we think about that idea of it being, there's, less ingredients or having real ingredients. And then I think there's a lot of people like who can't take a lot of salt, and, that's their only option if they're going to do this kind of grilling, smoking, barbecuing. They don't have a lot of choices. And I think, in the future, as you're thinking about marketing this, I think as a salt-free or low salt or low sodium, whatever they want to say, I think there's a real advantage there to that, because I think there's a lot of
definitely.
Yeah.
I had a customer probably about 2 years ago, that I was doing flooring for them, and we started talking about barbecue, and he had a bad reaction to garlic. In
Mm.
any way, shape, or form, he couldn't have it at all. So that meant he couldn't have ketchup because ketchup has garlic in it. The amount of things that he could not eat was mind boggling.
Oh.
And I'm like, yeah, I guess that many, or garlic is in that many products. So I said, well, I can make you ketchup or barbecue sauce with no garlic in it. I just add the ingredients and skip out on the garlic.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that was a bit of an eye opener because I'm like, there's a lot of people that can't have any sugar.
Right.
Trying to find barbecue sauce that is sugar free, that is still tasty, is hard to do in your grocery store.
Yeah. Do you have to worry about gluten at all? Does that show up? Because that's the other product. A lot of folks are gluten free. Does gluten show up in any of the stuff that you do?
Some of the products do, but I try not to. I try not to use them if I don't have to.
Sure. Yeah.
But if I do use them, and a lot of it is in the smoke flavoring. Like you'll buy a hickory powder, which is just a flavored, like they take corn flour and they smoke it.
Mm.
So, a little sprinkle of that in the rub it's delicious, but it's not incredibly healthy. So I do seek out, and I'm still, every day I learn stuff. I'm finding new products that, taste like one thing but are another. I just discovered a powder or a fruit. It's called a lucuma fruit. And I've never heard of the lucuma fruit before. And as I started reading about it, I'm like, wow, this is a really what they call a superfood. And it's a sweetener. So they dry it out, they grind it up, just like Splenda and all these products. And it's a natural food sweetener with none of the harmful chemicals that, processed sugars have. So
I think we just started buying that for home for my wife's coffee.
The lucuma?
Yeah.
It's not
bad.
bad.
In a bag somewhere. Yeah, it tastes like sugar.
Yep.
You can actually try it, and it tastes like sugar.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's an icing sugar. Like the stuff that I have it's a powdery form, but it was pretty sweet. I haven't figured out how to incorporate it into a seasoning or a rub yet, but I'm still working on it.
Mark said when we were talking about having you on, he said that you've been working on getting more smoke flavoring in some of the rubs. So for folks who don't have a smoker but want that smoke flavor, they could get it through a rub like that. Are you like you just mentioned that one method? How are you doing it?
Yeah. Well, part of it is I smoke a lot of the ingredients prior. So I will smoke the garlic, I'll smoke the paprika, the onion powder. Like I said, I can buy products that are like the smoked corn powder. A little bit of that goes a really long way. They make a liquid version, like a liquid smoke, which is pretty nasty, actually. The powders actually taste a little bit better than the liquid does, but it's the same idea. It's just a concentrated smoke flavor.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest arguments, and I saw it in one of the comments here, is people think that the pellet grilling is either cheating or it doesn't taste smoky enough. It is a lighter flavor, but that depends at the temperature you're cooking. If you cook on a pellet grill at a really low temperature, you're going to get a lot more smoke flavor than you will at, say, 300 or 350. The more efficient the wood burns, the less smoke you have. So a higher temperature, you have a more efficient burn. So going with the sales trends and how popular pellet grills are becoming, I'm like, well, people are complaining that they don't have enough smoke flavor. Well, I can help add that in, the seasoning. And a lot of people that live in condominiums or apartments complexes that are not allowed to run smokers, they're limited to a propane grill or even their kitchen stove.
Right.
So if they make a seasoning that tastes like it came off the barbecue just because of the smoked ingredients in it, it's not the full effect, but it's pretty close.
Yeah, no, not bad. I don't know. in your region, but for us here, at least in Omaha, and I think it's pretty common around the United States, apartments are going up like crazy. Like just
Yes, around here too.
yeah, and nuts. And so Sean, as you say that, I'm like, oh yeah, there are my kids lived in apartments when they first moved out, and they were limited on what they could grill. My oldest son loves to grill, but he had very limited capabilities. So yeah, that's a great idea to kind of think through, like, okay, how do we get a little more flavor in there and get that smoky flavor? Do you just do that on your pellet grill, or when you're smoking these ingredients, you just throw it all in there and smoke it, or do you have a
I
do you have
do.
a other way of doing it?
I have what they call a Bradley smoker,
Okay.
which is it smokes, or it uses little wood pucks. It looks like a little mini beer fridge.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I use that, I also have a cabinet smoker, is both of those have shelves. I can open the door and put 6 shelves of different spices on. On a pellet grill or on my Traeger, it's just like your barbecue. It's one open grate. You can't put a whole lot of spices. You can kind of stack them, but the cabinet smoker, because it's I'm not cooking the spices. I just want the smoke flavor imparted in it. They both run very low temperatures. On the Bradley, you can unplug the heating element, so there's just a little hot plate where the wood sits and smolders on, and the temperature stays quite low. So
It's almost cold smoking.
yeah, it's pretty much the same as cold smoking. Probably the cabinet style ones, again, for the amount that I can do in one time.
It's a good electric. They're discs. Do the discs? So those are the discs determine what kind of wood it is, right? So whether you get hickory smoke or whatever. Do you have a preferred smoke or wood flavor that you like for doing this, or do you experiment with a bunch of them?
A lot of it depends on the flavors, or sorry, what you're smoking. I personally prefer a mixture of apple and hickory. I love the taste of hickory wood, and the apple adds a little bit of sweetness to it. A lot of woods like mesquite are pretty strong, so if you're doing garlic or say paprika, it'll overpower the taste of the paprika. So I do usually probably the lighter the woods. I'll do a few spices or a few things with a heavier smoke, but the average person doesn't want, everybody's taste is a little bit different.
Yeah.
But some of the stronger woods are a little bit too much. Some people who aren't used to smoked foods will bite into something and it'll be really bitter or sour so you have to get them addicted first. Do something where it's just a hint of smoke. And then as they get used to it or accustomed to the flavor, then you can increase the intensity of it.
Kind of bring it on. My wife is not a fan of smoking. Like, when I tell her I'm going to smoke this, she goes, "Do you have to?" And I do it anyways because that's what I do. But that's not her favorite. Mark, do you have one? Do you have a beer fridge smoker?
No.
And okay, so and then what's your preferred when you think about wood to smoke with? What's your preferred, or what do you like to do?
I tend to go for the competition ones, which are typically a mix of like oak, apple, cherry, walnut. That's probably the biggest 4. I can't really tell the difference in flavors. I can tell the difference in the smoke flavor, like the sense, the smell of the smoke when it's coming out of the smoker smells different.
Yeah,
like I've done it before with barrel staves out of a wine barrel on my charcoal, and you can actually smell the wine coming through the smoke. But I don't know how much that went into the actual meat, but it smelled really, really good.
Smelled delicious. That sounds like I want to quit the show right now and go out and fire up some of those. Just smell them, like not even put any meat on.
It's everybody, like I said before, everybody jokes about the fact that it's like an easy bake oven, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I use my charcoal significantly less than I use my pellets. I'll go through probably 400 pounds of pellets a year. I've got the same 3 bags of charcoal for the last 2 years. And luckily, because right now you can't buy charcoal up here. Charcoal is there's actually Facebook groups trying to help people find charcoal in Ottawa, because it's like, okay, we got a skid. Okay, it's gone. But I can get pellets from a number of different places, including from Sean. So it's I typically have 300 or 400 pounds of pellets on my shelf. Charcoal will disappear at some stores as soon as it came out, because during COVID, everybody is starting to play around with cooking outside again.
Yeah, well,
and
sure.
charcoal is one of the big ones that went through.
Yeah, lots of drinking, lots of grilling went on. I mean, I think everybody went out and started doing that for sure. I actually think I grilled less during the pandemic than, I don't know why, no reason. I just didn't.
I did. Like I went
Less?
down because I'm not entertaining.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah.
There's only my wife and I, so we share a lot of our food. We'll cook for a lot of people.
Right.
Right. And then we're not entertaining. We're not cooking as much for ourselves.
You were going to a lot of classes. You were like, it was very much a part. I mean, I watched you on Facebook, and you'd post something, and then all your neighbors would be like, okay, what time is dinner? When can I come over? Do I need to bring beer? Those kinds of things. Yeah. I was seeing those comments.
Yeah, that store actually closed. They went bankrupt. So no more classes. But
well, maybe
that was a great way to spend a Friday night.
Yeah. No, it's been interesting to see those habits. Sean, as you think about kind of coming out, and I know you guys are, I say coming out of the pandemic, and yet you guys are still on lockdown right now for what's going on locally. But as you think about summer and fall, does that get you? Well, let me ask you: did you grill as much this last year as you normally would? Did you grill more?
I definitely grilled less. Same reason as Mark, wasn't hosting or entertaining. Before the pandemic, on an average weekend, there would be 12 to 14 people here that I was cooking for. And now we're down to immediate family, which is 3. So those 9 extra people don't fill up the other grills. So now I got a lot of grills sitting out in the yard. It's like, oh geez, I haven't used you for 2 years. And
yeah, has it given you some time to think about the rub work, or did it get set back because you didn't have as much food to kind of test it on?
It definitely set back, because the other benefit of having or cooking for 12 to 14 people is I do a lot of experimenting. So I'll just whip something up on the spot, and they'll be like, "Oh, what'd you think of that?" They'll be like, "Oh, it was amazing." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." A couple of years ago, I never used to track what I did. I would just make something and it would be good. And they're like, "Well, make that again." And I'm like, "I don't know what I did." And so friends and family and my wife were hounding me. "You got to start writing this down. You got to start writing this down." And as they started getting people, it's like, "Wow, make this, do this, do this. Can I have some of this?" They were asking and following me around and tracking me down on Facebook. And I'm like, "Yeah, I should start selling some of this." And that's kind of how it took off. But it was definitely slowed with the pandemic. It is hard to be rolling forward when we're technically not allowed to leave our house.
Right.
I have to go to a friend and I'm like, "Here, try this." And I'm like, "But don't come near me. I'll mail it to you."
Yeah.
It doesn't have the same effect as sitting with somebody, and kind of like what we're doing now. It's different if we were sitting around a table eating and enjoying it as we're talking about it.
Right.
To me, it's just a different atmosphere.
Yeah.
To that point, Sean and a buddy of his that we both know is talking about doing a YouTube barbecue tour. So go to different people's houses and actually film them doing barbecue, or get a couple of guys together on somebody's driveway doing barbecue and putting it on YouTube.
Yeah. No, I think it'll be interesting to see as we come out of the pandemic, that maybe some new ideas come out of this kind of thing of like, we could do things differently in a different kind of way. I don't know, Sean, when you think about, okay, so for the average guy, because that's my site, I'm the Average Guy Network, right?
Yep.
As we think about the average guy, and I'm going to grill some chicken on the weekend, right? And I got some chicken breasts, And I've maybe in the past I've just put a little marinade on it, or some Italian dressing, or salt and pepper. Like, if you were to give some advice for folks to try something new with chicken, as far as a rub goes, or even, I don't know, do you do marinades as well? Do you marinate stuff that way, or
Yeah,
are you
I
putting it
do a
on the
lot
rub?
of marinating. A lot of it depends on how I'm cooking the product.
Yeah.
Smoking, being low and slow, if you put, say, your chicken on the barbecue and put it on really low and came back 5 hours later, it wouldn't be very tasty. It dries out. So there's a lot of preparation involved in cooking stuff at lower temperature and retaining moisture and the flavor in it. Part of that is seasoning, what they call a dry brine, adding salts to it. Will create a layer on the outside of almost like searing,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll help keep the juices locked inside. But as for cooking the chicken, it all depends. Every person is different.
Yeah.
I'll be in my kitchen and I'm like, oh, I'm going to throw some Greek yogurt. I'm like, maybe I'll put some orange in there and some lemon and, oh, here, let's throw some dill pickle chips in. Whatever's in front of me, I just kind of experiment and put it in. And usually it comes out pretty good. Sometimes it's not the greatest, but.
What have you found recently? Like, what was something you've tried in the last 6 months that you thought, I don't know, I'm just going to give it a try, and then you were like, man, this is pretty good? What do you think?
Last weekend, actually, I started playing around with smoking and flavoring different salts. So I was watching another video where he was taking like fresh garlic and he used fresh garlic, mixed it in with salt, spread it out, dried it, and smoked it. And I'm like, that's a pretty good idea. And I looked in the kitchen and I'm like, well, so I tried the garlic and I'm like, I don't want just garlic. So I added some fresh chilies to it. And then I'm like, oh, maybe some ginger. Put that all in and put that out in the smoker.
Like a whole ginger? Did you like peel it? And
I just took a chunk off and threw it in the blender. So as I was doing that, waiting for the blender to finish blending all this stuff, I looked down, there was oranges. And I'm like, I wonder what happens if I do that with an orange. So the second batch, I put a full orange. I took the zest off it, the outside peel.
Sure.
Took the the membrane off. I peeled it, threw it in the blender, just kept pouring salt in until it became like a paste. And I'm like, do. I spread it out over the grill and threw it in the smoker. So once it was dried and a little bit smoke flavored, you take the granules of the salt, and they taste like orange, like an orange flavor. Huh. I haven't figured out what to do with it yet.
Well, it's like maybe
chicken. A marinade for chicken or a marinade, but
that'd be like a grilled orange chicken, which would be pretty delightful.
Or cocktail dressing.
Yeah.
Like a cocktail rimmer.
Yeah. This weekend, I'm going to try it with, I'm going to do a batch with pineapple, like real pineapple, lime, and the salt. I'll smoke that until it dries down to a powder. And then I'm going to try a raspberry and a lime one.
Okay, hold on. So when you say smoke it to a powder, so like what are you putting? So this is a liquid, you're blending it up. Yep. And then what do you put it in, and how long does it need to be in the smoker to get dried to a powder?
I spread it out on parchment paper.
All right. Okay.
And the smoker technically is the same as a food dehydrator. It's just a low heat.
Right.
And so the salt, the garlic one took about 2.5 hours. And I think the orange one was about 4 hours. And the temperature was around 225 degrees. But
so you're basically dehydrating a paste.
Yeah.
And like, so with the garlic, you're grinding that garlic up into the paste, right? You're using a food processor to grind that in. Okay. Yeah.
Yep. I put the garlic, like I peeled the garlic and just put the whole cloves into the blender.
Throw it in there, blend it up.
Yep. Now with that batch, I added a little bit of vinegar to it and a little bit of water to add a bit of moisture to it. And then I used the salt to take the moisture out of it again.
Right. But you're saying 2 to 4 hours generally.
For
we're
doing
not
that,
gonna-
yeah.
for that kind of that. So then you get this dry paste, basically, right? Takes all the water out.
Yep.
And then what? What do I do with that paste? Do I just slap it right on the chicken?
No, the paste will be dried out, almost like a chocolate chip cookie.
Okay.
So you just take I fold the parchment paper in half and you just squish it, break it back up into the granules. You could put it into a spice grinder or even a food processor, turn it back into the powder. But if you wanted to do a paste, you could do the similar thing. You could add your garlic, a little bit of olive oil, fresh chives and stuff like that. Put it in your blender, turn it on, and just slowly keep adding the oil until everything chops up and blends. And then you could just smear that on any of your food, your chicken, and
go right to the smoker from there.
Yep.
If you use a little bit of acid, that would be another marinade too. Like if you put some lemon juice into it or something with it, then you're getting into another acid. So when you're marinating it, it's actually cooking it a little bit.
Sean, you said let's say an orange. I'm going to use the orange as acid. You're taking the rind off and you're grinding up the pulp part of the orange, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and the rind.
And the rind as well?
Yes, because there's a lot of flavor in the rind.
Yeah. Right.
So the orange itself, once you add, the salt and the amount of moisture in it, orange isn't a very strong flavor on its own. Right. So the rind definitely helps kick in the flavor of it.
Yeah. Oh man. you got my head turning on this now. I'm like, Sarah is really good at oil-based marinades. So, making whenever we do a steak or a chicken, she'll do an oil base. We'll put it in whatever that is. She, Worcestershire and all kinds of good stuff goes in there, right? They're delicious. But I never thought of drying those out to make dry rubs out of them.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the direction that I'm going.
Yeah.
For the people that are marinating, I'm taking the marinade and I'm just powdering it.
Yeah.
You can buy powdered peanut butter. You can buy powdered Worcester sauce.
Yeah.
You can buy powdered honey, and it all tastes.
Yep. Yeah.
So my theory and my goal here is for somebody who comes home from work, doesn't have time to go out and buy fresh garlic and fresh this and the oil, blend it all together and smear it on. They want something they can just reach over, sprinkle it on, and get the same flavor out of it.
Yeah.
So it's pretty exciting and it is interesting and it's fun experimenting with the different flavors.
Yeah, I bet. Have you ever made one and you're like, oh, this is awful?
Not yet. Okay. I think about it all the time though. I make a lot with really hot peppers. And as I'm making it, I'm like, this is going to hurt. I'm like, why am I putting myself through this torture?
I all of a sudden want to get this. Every show we do this now. I want to go. Get some meat out of the freezer and start grilling and smoking some stuff. So what as you think about the future, you're trying out a whole bunch of these different things. Do you think are you going to land on a few of these things and try and make a entrepreneurial run at this?
Oh, definitely. I want to start with just like the rubs and the seasonings and then slowly expand. Get back into doing the sauces, do actual packaged marinades where you just kind of like what you see in the grocery store, you just pour it in and let it sit, and they're
super handy,
it's fun, it's exciting, and hopefully open an actual little barbecue store someday where people can come in, get advice, get cooking tips, or get expert advice on a product that they want to buy. Because a lot of grills now and everything seems to be leading to big box stores, and a lot of the employees don't really know the products that they're selling. So it's I don't know, a small town. I like to it's nice to be able to help people buy what they actually want. And I've gone into many stores looking for barbecue accessories. One of the 9 grills breaks down and I need a part and I can't find it. And I'm like, why can I not find this part? So hopefully I'll have a little store like that where people can come in and buy stuff.
Nice.
Not have to search, not get frustrated.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff will also deliver. Like I do distribute the pellets and I'll take them right to the person. So somebody's cooking on a Saturday afternoon. They're like, oh, I've had way too many beer. I'm running out of pellets. I can't go and drive.
Right.
I'll bring them to them.
Nice.
It's, and it's not about the money. I know what it's like being in a position and I'm like, oh, ran out of this and, make a phone call and it shows up at the door. It's a good feeling.
When Mark calls you, right? When Mark calls you and says he's run out of pellets, is that how
That doesn't happen.
No.
Do you make, Sean, do you make pellets as well then? Or do you do blends of pellets or anything like that?
No, I don't. I just distribute for a local Canadian company here. Okay. They're really good products. They're fresh, definitely tasty. That's a whole different ball game. All the different pellet manufacturers and companies and what's in them and what's not in them. And some of them are a little bit deceiving, but with a really good quality pellet and a little bit of knowledge, cooking on the pellet grill is very close to cooking on either an offset smoker or charcoal, assuming it's done properly.
And a lot easier.
Yeah, and definitely a lot easier. It's there's a real art to holding a fire on a windy day when it's raining at 150 degrees. The temperature swings and the heat swings are up and down and they're all over the place. And as I get older, I'm like, you know what? I love smoked food, but I also love to be sitting in my couch right now having a beer while my food is cooking.
Right.
When it's raining. When it's nice and sunny, I'll sit out in the deck and I'll sit there and poke the fire as I'm cooking and enjoy the aromas. But it's pretty rare that I have the opportunity to do that. And I think most people are getting to that. Life gets pretty hectic and busy and kids running here and wanting to go there. So
Mark, do you feel like we are, you guys are in a little bit of a lockdown at the moment, but as we think about maybe towards the end of the summer, do you think you get back into kind of a rhythm or a routine where you're doing more of that stuff?
I would have people over tomorrow if we were able to.
Yeah, well, you can't. But as you think about do you think people will come over?
Before this last lockdown, so late last year, I guess it was, or actually, late last year, we would have friends over and we just did the social distancing thing. We would spend the 6 or 8 feet apart and we'd have dinner where we'd bring out the cooked food and actually, I think Easter was just before the last lockdown and we did a separated dinner where we brought over some plates. They had some plates and we ate together, but we ate 15 feet apart. But no, I enjoy cooking for people more than I enjoy cooking for myself. And I'll try doing opposite stuff that I just won't do for myself. It's just not worth the bother. But I did get one of the friends. We have a close family that lives 2 hours away from us. That my wife has known her for. I think my wife's known this friend for 45 years. And they're in Montreal, so we go down to see them typically once a year. They come to see us for once a year. I got him into pellet cooking last summer, and he was a diehard gas, would never go away from gas. I gave him a charcoal that I found off Craigslist 4 years ago. He tossed out his gas grill last year and went and bought himself a pellet grill because he didn't use it. He hadn't used the gas in 4 years. And every weekend almost now I'm getting something else. I tried this, I tried that, I tried it. And he is just having a blast with it.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm a gas guy. I use the tube for smoking. So the magic tube, is that what it's called?
Smoking tube. Amazing tube.
Amazing.
Amazing tube.
The amazing tube. and I've gotten pretty good at it, like knowing how to set it in there and how hot to get it so it'll burn slowly all the way through. I've gotten pretty good at it, but I'm still definitely, still a grill guy. Not for any reason, but I'm just lazy. I haven't put $800 or $1,000 into a pellet grill yet. So
have you done any smoked cheese with your smoking tube yet?
No, I should.
I did the batch in December and I did a batch in March, I think.
Yeah.
And the batch in March, I think, was 12 pounds or 16 pounds. And I'm about to start digging into that. And one batch of that was actually double smoked. So I re-smoked some stuff I smoked in November.
Nice. Well, like I said, Sarah is not a huge fan. My wife is not a huge fan of smoke flavor all the time. So, I sneak it in where I can, and it's usually in the meat. Hey, speaking of meat, for you guys, have you seen a spike in meat prices? Has it gotten more expensive for you guys?
We're getting cheap brisket.
Well, that's good.
$3 a pound for brisket now.
Okay. Why do you think that is? Why is it cheaper than it was before?
People know about it. Oh. It's getting more. It used to be really hard to try and find it. Yeah. Now we can buy it at Costco, and most of the grocery chains have it. But yeah, overall, groceries as a whole are going up.
Yeah, I saw a lot of ribs. I went into the store the other day, and there was just a ton of ribs, and so and they were cheap. I mean, there were a couple. They were not expensive at all. So on the whole, Sean, have you seen any change in meat prices, or has it stayed kind of the same for you? Because I know early in the pandemic we were kind of worried that we were going to run out of meat. But
yeah, I think a lot of it fluctuates. But like Mark said, they're definitely targeting a lot more meats, and newer cuts of meat are becoming more popular, especially for grilling. The brisket, for example, was not really a popular meat. You couldn't put it in your oven and cook it as a roast. It would turn out hard as a rock. Lots of new cuts, well, not new, but new to the grocery stores now are Brazilian cuts, like what they call picana, which is the top sirloin, or the top of the sirloin roast, and they cut it at a different angle, and it's delicious. And I'd never heard of that. And I'm like, well, I love beef, and how have I not heard about this after 45 years of eating beef, or 47 years of eating?
It used to be called a butcher's cut. So the butcher would save it for themselves because they knew what it was, but nobody would ask for it.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And like we're finding, like I'll buy brisket now and grind it up and make my own ground beef rather than go and buy ground beef. Because you make a brisket burger, a ground beef brisket burger, instead of going out and buying the ground beef to make a burger.
Do you have a hand grinder, or do you do an electric grinder?
KitchenAid mixer with the grinder attachment on it.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yep. I got one of those. We've never used it for that, but that sounds delicious.
You get the right. So I would take the 5 or 6 pounds of lean off the end of it, off the flat, and make that into jerky.
Right.
And then whatever is left after that, I would grind up to make brisket beef.
Yeah.
Ground brisket.
You guys are bad for me. I'm just gonna say you guys are bad. Like every time, Sean, the whole reason we have this show twice a year with Mark is just to get like an infusion of, okay, I got to go grill, and I got to go grill now. We get done with this. I'm thinking, God, I want to go grill right now.
Yeah. So, well, each year it's becoming more and more tech savvy too.
Yeah.
Like I can turn my barbecue on and I can control it from my smartphone. I can be 30 miles away from home and control my cook and see exactly what it's doing. And it's computerized. Yeah. It's
more gadgety.
And like Mark said, the instant read thermometer. You stick a little pin in your food and boom, there's the temperature.
Right.
It's for precision cooking, it makes a world of difference.
And for pulling pork off when it's done and not when it's overdone.
Right.
Like 145 degrees and you're pulling the thing off and
yeah. That's Mark. If there's one thing you've taught me is how to cook for temperature. And then if I put it in, I think, oh, I'm going to give it another minute or two. That's when I pull it off. Like, and now I have an immediate reaction. I'm like, nope. If I had that thought of 2 or 3 more minutes, that means pull it off right now.
It's going to
And-
rest and raise.
Yeah. That has saved me, Mark. You've taught me and saved me in so many. We did steaks this last weekend. I got bacon wrapped sirloins and had the kids over, and I put those on, and I was doing just that. I was like, oh, maybe I'll give it. We were alone slowing them and just taking my time. And I was like, maybe I'll give it. Nope, they're off. As soon as I have that thought, they're off. And man, they were so delicious. Like it was just so. The kids were like, oh, this is awesome. And they were just little 5 ounce. That's the other thing that I have. I used to always do 8 ounce steaks, and I've started going down to 5, and it just seems to be a better portion.
My wife and I'll take a strip loin and we'll split it in half.
Yeah.
Not that we couldn't eat the whole thing, but we tend to make it thicker steaks, but shorter.
Right. Yeah. No, I've found the portion is just the right kind of the right thing. Of course, we always just buy them with, we buy them at the grocery store with bacon wrapped in there. Okay, Sean, you mentioned a pen, so let's transition into this, because a thermo pen or a instant read thermometer. I told everybody I was going to buy one on the show because I have to be quiet. I can't say this too loud. I think Sarah's in the next room. She bought a really crappy one, so I keep breaking them, right? And I've gotten a couple different kinds that haven't been really that good. Like they're okay, but they haven't been that good. In the last couple I broke. So I was like, and then she bought me one, and it's like it's not Insta. It's take as long as a month to read thermometer. Like you put it in. All your heat
leaves the barbecue.
It's gone. It's usually taking minutes. And I'm like, okay, I don't need this. So I told everybody I would buy, this would be the night I buy a new one. We looked at a couple products. Of course, the high end on this, and Sean, you're a big fan of ThermoWorks and these ThermoPens. $100, really great pens.
Yep, the MK4. I'm not sure. I don't know if I see that displayed.
Yeah, the blue one.
Yep, this blue one right here.
Okay.
Yep.
Because they have the classic and the MK4. So the classic, the differences between the classic and the MK4. The classic one is water resistant. It's not waterproof, and it doesn't have the backlight timer. So if it's getting dark out, you won't be able to see the light on it. So the MK4 is actually waterproof and has the light, like the background light.
There's also the thermal pop too. I have one of those too.
Thermo pop?
Yeah. If you under shop again.
Okay.
Yeah, they were the little round guys when you went to the homepage. I think they were on the homepage.
Okay. Let's go
ThermoPens.
We'll go to the back. This one right here. These?
No, that's a different one again.
Oh, okay.
Similar to that though.
I don't know why I didn't think about looking for that before.
No, that's okay.
ThermoWorks pop, unless they don't make them anymore.
What does it do?
Thermal pop. It's the same thing, but it's an all-in-one unit. It's called the thermal pop. It's $35. It's under sale. If you go under sale,
sale.
See more.
Okay.
What happened? Didn't work. Or just go to search and do a search for thermal pop.
All right. Oh, here we are. Maybe down here. No, that's the dash.
Should be down there.
Dash mini.
Dot.
Zipper pull.
This is crazy how many they have.
Remote. Okay. First of all, so if you're listening to the audio, I know this is not terribly compelling, but if you're on the video, oh my God, there's a ton. There is just a ton of thermometer products that they have.
I just sent you the link in the private chat.
Oh, okay. Let me go over there and I'll grab that. Well, let's see. No. Okay. Let me grab this link, copy it, because StreamYard won't allow that. So we'll put it in there. Okay. So Oh, so I know it. No, okay, it didn't work, Mark. It's okay. The I know what you're talking about. It's really just a very, very, very small
Looks like a
version.
lollipop. It's
Yeah.
thermal pop because it looks like a lollipop. It's backlit and it's splash resistant.
Okay, there we go. So 35 for these. So okay, so we're at 99, 89 for the non-lighted version of it. They've got a thermopop at 35. You
And that's
also
3 to 4 seconds,
right.
which
Right.
is similar to what you're about to see right now.
So then you also said, well, I could go with an Inkbird instant read from Amazon, $23.
And those are regularly on sale.
And you say they're on sale. Well, this one's 30 on sale for 23. So knowing I'm a weekend warrior, Sean, I'll ask you first. Knowing I'm a weekend warrior, I don't grill. I mean, I grill some, maybe once in the summer, maybe one weekend or once a week on the weekend, maybe one time. So, so once a week, maybe that's a good average. But I can sit for 5 seconds to read the temperature. It doesn't have to be instant. Thinking about what we see here, what do you like? What would you recommend, Sean, at this point that I jump into?
The Inkbirds definitely are good products. They have the backlight. For the price, they work really well, and they're chargeable. The ThermoPen, it takes the little round cell batteries,
Coin cells.
the corn cells. Now they last quite a while, but it is much more convenient to just be able to plug it in, just like your cell phone, and unplug it. And I think I have 3 of the Inkbird ones, and I've given quite a few friends the same products, and as far as I know, everybody who's tried them has loved them.
Mark, do I wait for a sale, or at $23? Is that gonna? Is that
you
good
buy
enough?
one now and you buy one when it goes on sale?
Oh, there we go. That's a good. We'll throw that in the cart
because those are great. Like I gave them to my dad for Christmas. We went to the cottage last year with him, and I brought my Inkbird thermometer with me. So we're doing grilling every night, and I was doing pork chops and I was doing steaks and we're doing sausage and we're doing everything that came off of that thing. When you're cooking for other people, especially, you want to make sure that you're making sure it's cooked well enough.
Yeah.
And I use that thing every night. And at the end of it, he looked at me and he goes, "How much are those things?" And then they came on sale a week later, so I picked one up for him. I've given probably a thermometer to 3 or 4 different friends for the same reason that you now use one.
Mm-hmm.
It's you cook chicken to 165. You don't cook it to 190. You cook pork to 145. You cook your sausage to 165. Like you're cooking everything to the temperature where it's just done, not where it's shoe leather.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's on its way. It'll be here Saturday. So that'll help get me through. I like your idea of I should probably have 2. So watch and see, and then at some point maybe pick up a second one.
I think I have 4 or 5.
I like the orange color too because it's
harder to lose.
Yeah, exactly. I've had gray and black, and man, those things just blend into all the other.
And USB-C charging.
Yep.
So it charges by the USB-C. The battery lasts for a while. It's backlit. It's waterproof. It's fairly quick response.
All right. Yeah.
Within 3 seconds, I think.
Yeah. 3 to 5 seconds. That's good enough. Put it in. That's usually kind of put it in, let it. And I actually kind of move it around, depending on how thick the meat is. I'll move it into a few spots just to kind of see, okay, is everything, do I have some even temperatures across the meat or whatever.
So as we're getting close to the end here, do you want to see some Canadian Spokesman food that Sean's rubbed?
Yeah. Bring it
so
up.
This was we went and got some. Actually, I got to pop it up first.
Yeah, share your screen with me.
We went to Costco and got some portobello mushrooms, and Sean had just given me some beef rub.
Now, you guys, Sean, are you're like in a Facebook group? That's
Yeah.
how you guys met, is through a Facebook group around
Yeah. Pellet grills.
pellet grills. Okay.
Canadian pellet grill owners.
Nice.
So it's a group, because Canadians have to have issues that Americans don't have, like the price of pellets, the price of brisket, I think we're 5,500 members now, and everybody on there is Canadian. So it's, if you're not, you don't get in. You have to be either live in Canada or be a Canadian citizen, or you don't get in.
Nice.
So these are portobello mushrooms that are stuffed with herb and garlic cream cheese, then wrapped in bacon. And then let's see if it won't let me actually if I do this. And then wrapped in bacon, then dusted with Sean's beef rub, Canadian smoked some beef rub. And it ended up making like a cream cheese mushroom gravy with garlic and herbs. It was a complete experiment that was phenomenal. You had the crispy crust on the outside. You had this ooey, gooey cream cheese mushroom gravy came out of the middle of it. Just go through a couple of the other pictures I got here.
No.
That was my smoked cheese. So I think that was 4 different types of smoked cheese, or 5. Smoked. That was a pulled pork sandwich that we did this spring.
Is that a Tito drink?
That was a Caesar.
Which is what?
It's a Canadian thing.
It's a very Canadian thing. It's a Bloody Mary with clam juice.
Oh, yikes.
It's a Caesar with tomato juice. It's phenomenal.
Oh my God. Okay.
So tomato juice is a big thing up here. It's massive.
Yeah. But every region's different, right? They make it a little bit different. Is that right?
It's like chili. Everybody's got their own recipe.
Yeah.
But the problem is, when you buy this stuff, they sell them in half-gallon jugs. So once you open up a half-gallon jug of tomato juice, you got to drink it fairly quickly.
You got to get it done. I think I heard Brian Regan. I think he came up and did a HBO comedy special in Canada. Maybe it was Jim Gaffigan, one of those guys. And I think they were talking about that drink and how different it is. Yeah. So this is one I can buy at the LCBO, the local liquor store, and it's pre-done, and it's a half liter can. So I don't have to mix anything. Like I used to be known for my Caesar. It would be like 15 ingredient Caesar. Now I have one I just buy that I just drink, but I don't have to open up a half-gallon drink every time to make it. I like how Sean said it's a Canadian thing.
You can't buy it in the States.
Like hockey, it's a Canadian thing.
It's like Tim Hortons. That was a massive T-bone that we bought. We find we do this a lot more with steaks now too. We buy a big steak and then chop it up into pieces, and then we have 6 pieces of steak on our plate.
Yeah, it's a good way. It's a good way to do it. How are you cooking the potatoes there, Mark?
Those are Jamie Oliver's roast potato recipe.
Okay.
So that's a hot pan with lard or shortening in the pan, heat it up, and then
super healthy.
This is my wife's recipe that she does. And then you boil the potatoes, and then you do what's called fluffing them, which you basically put them in a bowl and toss them around so they get all little fluff edges on them.
Yeah.
And then put them onto the hot pan and cook them for about 30 minutes.
They look delightful. They look like little potato chips.
They're crispy, and they are not healthy at all, but they are delicious.
Yeah. We just
on the other end now.
I just grilled some potatoes the other day. We just cut them up, olive oil and some spices and stuff, and then tin foil on top of the grill and put them in for an hour, and like at 300, and didn't turn them for about 20 or 25 minutes. So one side got got crisp. Yeah, very crisp. And man, those things, and then we turned them and got them brown on the other sides, and so good. A little rosemary on top after we pulled those out.
I think those potatoes were cooked at 465 in lard, like in a pan of lard.
Super healthy. I like
super
that.
Healthy.
Sean, are you a potato guy? Do you also
Yep, love
figure out all
potatoes.
kinds of different ways to get potatoes in your diet?
Almost every day.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
potatoes.
Yeah.
Slice them, dice them, fry them,
Mash
bake
them.
them, boil
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Yeah, we've gotten because we use a lot of HelloFresh. They do a lot of mashed potatoes, and we've gotten pretty good at getting that exactly the way we like it. Which is nice and creamy, and the different. They send stuff, but we're always adding. Like, oh
We
no,
started
that's not going to be enough.
we started adding smoked cheese to our mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
That was you get the creamy and the smokiness. And my wife did it the first time. She's like, "Wow!"
Yeah.
And it was only like one of those bricks of cheese. It was only a half inch by whatever the height is, 3 inches
Yeah.
that we grated up. But that little bit of smokiness into the mashed potatoes was phenomenal.
Can you smoke a whole potato, Sean? Have you just thrown the whole thing in the smoker and just let it sit for?
Yep, I've smoked just about
4 or 5
everything.
hours? Yeah, I imagine that's a 4 or 5 hour cook on smoke of a potato, maybe.
Yeah, a lot of times, depending on what meat I'm making with it, I'll poke a couple holes in the potato, throw it in the microwave for about 4 minutes, just to soften it up a little bit, and then throw it on the smoker. And it still takes about an hour to go, but
Yeah.
a lot of times I'll just slice it up, add it into like a tin foil pouch with butter and olive oil and onions, and it's good. That potatoes are good every way.
Yeah,
There's no bad way to eat a
No.
potato.
No, unless it's undercooked.
Yeah.
that's the one. We did potatoes one time, and I just didn't give them enough time, and we were just all sad. Everybody was like, "Oh, I really was looking forward to kind of potatoes." I even like throwing a little. If you get them at the very end, get them nice and hot, and then throw a little bacon on top of them and let that sizzle.
When you get your new little thermometer, 212 degrees Fahrenheit, and your potato is done.
Well, that's good to know. That's okay. 212.
212. That's the perfect finished potato temperature.
Yeah, it seemed like it's funny that you mentioned that. It seems like the other day I was cooking something non-meat related, and I asked the girls, we were at dinner, and I said, do you think there's a perfect temperature for that in the grill? And I'm trying to remember what that was.
Well, 212 is the boiling point of water, isn't it?
Yeah, 212. Yeah. Yeah. So what did you, Sean, you said 212. What did you say again? 212?
Yeah, 212,
okay.
I think.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense, right? I can't remember what it was, but I remember thinking it was something non-meat related, and I was like, I wonder what we could measure that to make sure it's done. Maybe it was potatoes. Maybe it was, because I think I was doing some potatoes in the oven, and I thought, I wonder what those need to be to make sure they're done, because I've certainly undercooked them in the past.
Sean was talking about poking things. I was trying to see if I could find a quick picture on Facebook of how he does testing of his brisket. Because he pokes it with
chopstick. Yeah.
Talk about it, Sean.
So the brisket should be cooked to texture, not by temperature. So what happens is the meat is cooking, the fat starts to break down, become liquid, and that's just like a slow cooker. When the meat, you can all pull it apart and it just shreds and falls apart on your plate. When I cook a brisket, the easiest way to tell when it's done is I take a big plastic chopstick and I slowly push it into the meat. So if it slides in and out like a hot knife in butter, then it's done. That's one of the hard parts or misconceptions, I guess, with looking online and following a lot of recipes off of the internet.
Right.
Is everybody has a different recipe. Everybody will tell you a different temperature. And some people find that overwhelming or confusing. Is that the video?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So if it just slides in.
Yep. It just slides in like butter. It's
Ooh, that's
mouth-watering.
delicious.
So when you slice that and pick it up, you can just pull it apart in your
Yeah.
hand, and it melts
Yeah.
in your mouth. So
Yeah, we just did a family reunion down in Texas, and brother-in-law made brisket, sister-in-law made ribs, and I was all about the brisket, but the ribs just got destroyed. Like everybody, she had a tray. I think they were both on Traegers, or maybe it was. Is there a Mountain? No, Green Mountain is.
Yeah,
Green Mountain Grill.
Green
Yep.
Mountain Grill. That's what Mike
Yeah.
has.
It's just what would be a Walmart smoker though? What would you get? Like
Camp Chef or Pit Boss.
Pit Boss. It was a Pit Boss. That's what it was.
Nothing wrong with them. Like
No.
it's a friend one time, a long time ago, said the best camera you have is the one that's with you. When you're trying to justify why iPhone cameras, when they first started out, were the best ones, better than the camera.
Is it?
And
oh, go ahead. Sorry, Mark.
The same thing is true for smokers, right? A pellet grill is a very simple device that gives a hot rod to start the flame, a fan to keep the flame running, and a constant feed of pellets. Right. So if you want to buy a $300 pellet grill, buy a $300 pellet grill to get going with. And then if you find you like it, then go out and buy yourself a Yoder or a Piston Pits or a Smoking Brothers or.
Sean, would you go bigger if you were buying a pellet grill for the first time? Would you go size? Get the biggest one you can.
Whatever size you think you need like double that.
So yes.
Yes.
There's two of us in the house, and we have a 700 square inch pellet grill, and we have a 500 square inch pellet grill.
Bigger than your bathroom. Yeah.
But no, it's always because you can always cook on half the grill, right?
Yeah,
you can't.
right.
It's harder to cut the amount of food down in half,
right.
or if you need 2 or 3 grills. But usually, whatever you can, whatever's in your budget. But you definitely have to base it on needs, because you might not need all of the bells and whistles. You might not need the Wi-Fi controller with it. If you're at home and you're always cooking and you don't need to leave, or you can get up off your couch, you can save yourself $400 by buying a base model.
And Green Mountain Grill does a really good job of that. They have the bare bones steel one without Wi-Fi, all the way up to the top of line stainless steel with Wi-Fi reporting and pellet hopper level, and so you have a whole range of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could get really gadgety with it, right? And
yep.
But they've kept they still have the non-windowed black metal bare bones entry level pellet grill.
Right. The only way I can justify it is to compare it to the price of a car. Well, hey, a Tesla's 50. This is just 1,000. So, like,
it's 1/50th of a Tesla.
That's what Sammy would say. My daughter. It's just a 50th. It's 50 Traegers, is what she'd say. Well, okay, you guys. Every time I do this, I came back from Texas ready to buy a pellet grill, and then I was like, no, I don't need one. I just don't.
Well, but that tells you right there that if Texans are using pellet grills.
Oh yeah, no. My next grill's pellet for sure, Mark.
I'm just mean like that's those are the barbecuers. Those are the guys that know true barbecue, not grilling, but like barbecue. And when you go to a family reunion and they're using pellet grills, that means that pellet grills have caught on.
Yeah, no, it's the way to go. It's the way. And Sean said it was his favorite. So how can I not go that direction? Start looking in the marketplace for the Omaha area.
You definitely won't regret it.
No, I know I won't. So I've bought a few things this summer already that were a little expensive, and I'm getting ready to buy a treadmill for us. We finally decided, like, okay, we better get some exercise equipment in the house. Like, so that's coming up as well. Well,
what you need to do is you need to convince Uyghur that he needs a better pellet grill so that you can get his old one.
Yeah, maybe he'll give it to me. Maybe just give it to me. That'd be pretty great. Mark, Sean, thanks for coming on. Sean, thanks for taking a chance on us and just showing up like last minute. Mark said, I know this guy, and I said, yeah, let's have him on, and thanks for taking a chance. It's not easy just to pop into a podcast. And,
nope, first time doing a pod. I had to borrow the headset from Mark in order to do this. I'm using my 6-year-old daughter's laptop. So
yeah, no, you did great. You sound great. Great content. This is what we do twice a year. You just jump in and do some kind of grilling show twice a year. And it's kind of become a mainstay here on Home Gadget Geeks. And
This is
Sean,
fifth or
thanks
sixth
for-
year.
I think it's the 5th. Yeah. I think we've been doing them a while now, and they kind of go through evolutions, but it was great to have you on. We'll have to, as you get ready to launch at some point, whenever that is, and you're gonna sell the products, however you're gonna do that, whenever it is, just reach back out and let us know, and we'll have to have you on. So, folks
Definitely, that would be
folks can-
awesome.
Yeah, no, it'd be super good. So good. Well, you guys hang tight for me 1 second. A couple reminders on the way out. One, big thanks to our Patreon subscribers. So if you're one of those, and you know who you are, thanks for what you do. I think are we early in the month? We are early in the month, and that's usually when those sponsorships come in. So thanks for doing that. If you want to join us in the Discord group, and there's some great conversation going on over there. There's been some really good hardware conversations as of late. And so if you want to jump into Discord, go to theaverageguy.tv/Discord. If you want to leave us a message, we'd love a message from you, something around grilling, pellet grills, whatever, even just you got something funny. Head out to homegadgetgeeks.com. There's a mic in the bottom right-hand corner. Click it. You got 30 seconds. Leave a message for us. We'll play it on the show. If you want to contact me, send me an email, jim@theaverageguy.tv. We'll get Mike back next week. Dave McCabe is joining us next week, Mark. And so he's got a new hobby. If you've listened to Reset, you kind of heard about it. So he just recently a new Reset where he interviewed me, I think back in 1999. It was a long time ago on Reset. And so Dave's joining us next week to talk about his new hobby, which is just as expensive as all his old hobbies.
He doesn't go into anything half-hearted.
No, he doesn't. And he's making some really nice stuff. So we'll talk about it. Full pictures next week. I'm here. And then don't forget the AverageGuy.tv platform, both web and media hosting, powered by Maple Grove Partners. Get secure, reliable, high-speed hosting from people that you know and you trust. And, of course, you know that's Christian. Plans start as little as $10 a month to get everything, basically. He does a great job. Visit maplegrovepartners.com. We are live every Thursday, 8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern, out here at the AverageGuy.tv/live. We want to thank you for joining us live. We'll do a smidgen of post-show. So if you're listening in the live audience, thanks for doing that. If you're listening to the recorded podcast of this, come out and join us live, for God's sakes. Jeez, like just once, come out and join us live. We'd love to see you here and join us in the evening. For those that did join us, I think Ken and Brian, Justin, Joe, thanks for coming out tonight, guys. Appreciate it. We'll see you next week. With that, we'll say goodbye, everybody. Gents, good job. Thanks, Sean. Thanks for coming on and doing this. How did it feel? Did it feel you may be a natural at this? When you go to sell your rubs, you're going to have to do the podcast, junket circuit.
Yeah.
It
was weird. It was strange talking and not talking to somebody physically sitting in front of me, because I'm not used to talking on cameras or on like the web.
Yeah.
I don't do the whole video chats
you did really well.
It was weird.
That
was one of the things I told him
to
convince him to come online tonight. I said that you can use this when you have when they're talking about your rubs to other people. You can just now reference a podcast. You're on this podcast talking about the rubs.
Yeah,
you'll want to fast forward them to about minute 20 because we're just goofing around for the first 20 minutes. So. But you get a good opportunity there. No, you did for your first one. You did really, really well. So nice job. I couldn't have told that you've never done this before. A couple Brian says, well done. So, did you say something to Brian, Mark?
Yeah. He was saying that he has an electric charbroil. So he said, I'll see myself out. And it doesn't matter what you're using as long as you're enjoying yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's the true reality of it, right? That's that we have this strong pellet grill group that we don't put up with any BS. We don't put up with any negativity. It's a group run by Sean's a moderator. I'm a moderator. This guy named Phil Latour is one of the founding, or is the founding member of it. And it's a group that managed to weed out the negativity out of this stuff. It isn't my grill better than your grill. It isn't I know how to do something you don't know how to do. It's we're all here to help somebody. And at one point, everybody was a first time cooker.
Mm-hmm.
So, on the flip side, we don't tend to get a lot of the questions that you can easily answer by 30 seconds of Google.
Yeah.
If you go into a Traeger grill every day, multiple times a day, what does LER mean? And it means low temperature. And if you look online for Google, what is like Google Traeger LER, it pulls up the same message. And every day you see that. We don't tend to get a lot of that. We got some people post on there that are posting phenomenal pictures. This one girl named Diane Spinks, the food that she comes out with from her home cook, it is, she could win cooking contests. She's actually won Instagram cooking contest by winning number of votes of the best food. Like this woman is phenomenal. And she does this for fun.
Sean, are you okay on time? I didn't even ask. We've kept you for an hour and a half, or two now at this point. I just want to make sure you're okay on time. So I'm gonna wrap it here in just a second. I cut all this part out. It doesn't make the podcast, but it does make our Patreon subscribers and anybody who subscribes to the live channel can come and get both pre and post show. I
enjoy it.
Yeah,
it's fun.
What time zone are you guys in? What's the for you
Eastern.
guys? You're in Eastern.
10:37 right now.
Yeah, so it's 10:30. It's not too bad.
You don't have to. What time do you have to be in, Sean, in the morning?
Well, I'm self-employed, so whatever time I get there.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good. I know
I told
sometimes
my helper 8:00. So
I know sometimes the trades like to get going early and get out of there early, and so or
Friday.
Stay late. Yeah. Tomorrow being
I don't really get the 9 to 5 jobs or the 8 to 4s. It's I work until we either get to a certain point because I'm in somebody's house,
right?
And starting tomorrow, they have no place to sleep. So my conscience, I can't leave at 5:00 on Friday and say, well, just sleep on the floor. I'm coming back Monday. So I'll stay and I'll keep working.
Yeah.
So they have a place to sleep when they want to go to bed, or at least a place they can put their bed.
Right. So you have a bedroom tomorrow.
Yeah.
So Jim, I was just looking through when I went to Nova Scotia, which is when Mike Howard and I started having the conversation that you started following on Facebook. Yeah. That was July 2016.
Oh, wow.
So it would have been that fall probably was
5 years ago.
Yeah.
No, that's right. Poor Mike. I miss him.
That's about a year, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's coming up on a year. Yeah. Because I was hoping to go out for the funeral and COVID just wiped all that out. I think he passed away in June.
I was going to say it's May, June.
Was it? Yeah, May, June time frame. Yeah. There's just no way we were getting out there, but yeah. He was, Sean Mike was a longtime listener of ours and contributor. In fact, he used to be on these grill shows and he got cancer and really bad. And we lost him last year. He battled it twice. So he got it. They removed it. It looked like he was going to be okay. And then it just came
April 19th.
Inventions. Oh, it was that early.
April 19th.
Oh, so it's been over a year.
Yeah.
I lost a friend to the same thing. He battled it for, I think, about 15 years. He had Hodgkin's, so he got it, and then he did the treatments, and he'd go 2 or 3 years perfectly fine, and then all of a sudden it would come back, and then he'd start the process over again, and then he would treat it, and then he would it was a hard thing to go through, and as sad as it wasn't a shock when he passed, because he knew it and everybody knew that it was coming. They say they gave him 5 years remission and he was supposed to be cancer free. Before he got it back his last time, he was about 3 weeks shy of his 5 years. And it came back and he was like stage 4B. Like when it came back, it was so aggressive that it spread. And they're like, well, we can't do a whole lot, about this. And it's discouraging.
It's hard. It's hard. It's just hard. It was hard to watch his family go through it. And, he had been such a big part of our grilling, and I think he's the one that got me on the magic awesome. What's the tube, Mark?
Amazing.
Oh,
The
amazing,
smoker.
amazing.
amazing. The
Yeah,
amazing.
it's A-MAZE-N.
Yeah.
Mike was what got me onto Average Guy
Yeah, really.
because I was looking for Unraid reviews, and Mike was talking about how he just swapped out. This was back probably his second Unraid,
the Unraid show. Yeah.
Unraid podcast that he did, but he was talking about how great it was, and then I found out about you guys, and I found out about Dave McCabe, and I started watching all the podcasts.
Yeah. Well, I hope his family's doing well. I kind of lost touch with them afterwards. So, well, if you're listening live, thanks for coming out tonight. Appreciate you guys. We're gonna get. We've been doing this for a couple hours, so I'm gonna let these guys go. But if you're listening live, thanks for coming out. Joe, good to see you, and Brian, thanks for the notes and chat. Justin, I know had to take off. I think he was like, the one show, and I gotta go. So he's over in Australia, so he's actually working right now. So thanks for coming out, guys. You guys hang tight for me 1 second. We'll see you next Thursday. McCabe is back, and it should be interesting. So we'll see you guys next Thursday.